Hi, I'm Lana. Welcome to True Crime Lana. Today we're going to be covering the Zodiac Killer for my first episode. I want to do the Zodiac Killer because it was like a big case. A lot of people know about it, but I never actually knew about it before. Well, I did know about it, but I didn't really know the specifics or any of the murders that happened or even about the letters. So I'm going to be covering it. So these are my brothers Aiden.
Hello.
And Christian.
Hi.
Who will be reacting to the case. So if you want to see any of my sources, they're in the description. Yeah. Here, I'll get started. The Zodiac Killer is an unidentified serial killer that operated in California in the late 1960s. The case is one of the most famous unsolved murder cases in American history. Well, he was a serial killer. The killer got his name from a series of letters, which he sent himself to newspapers demanding they would be published. He threatened mass shootings and bombings if they weren't put on the front page. A lot of the letters were in code. Well, all of them, basically. 2 remain unsolved to this day, while 1 was actually recently solved in 2020. The Zodiac Killer claimed to have committed 37 murders, but there are only 7 confirmed victims, 2 of which survived.
37, sounds like a lot, but since only 7 are, confirmed, then it doesn't really sound too right. But the person who did it said 37, so it might actually be 37.
Well, he was a liar. He was a compulsive liar where he lied a lot to make himself sound cooler than he actually was.
So he probably only did 10
Do you know
people.
the 3 people's name that died?
The people that died?
Uh-huh.
Well, we don't know the other people that he murdered. That he apparently murdered. So let's get on to the first murders that are confirmed. The first murders were of 2 high school students, Betty Lou Jensen and David Arthur Faraday, who were on their first date. Betty Lou was 16, a talented artist and a popular student. David Faraday was 17, a good student and a Boy Scout. Sorry if I, pronounce any of the names wrong. Yeah. They were about to attend the Christmas party on December 20th, 1968, and promised to be home by 11 p.m. Instead of going to the party, they visited a friend, went to a restaurant, and then went driving on Lake Herman Road. At around 10:15, David parked his mother's car in a gravel turnout, known as Lover's Lane. A bit after 11 p.m., their bodies were found by Stella Borges, who lived in the area. Police think that another car pulled in next to them a bit after 11, and then exited the car. The killer might have then walked over to the car and ordered the couple to get out of it. Betty Lou apparently got out first, but David was killed first as he was exiting the car after her. He was halfway out of the car when the killer shot him. So Betty Lou was shot 5 times as she tried to run away. After she saw that David got shot, she started running away, and her body was found 28 feet from the car. The killer then left the scene. 4 miles from the first murder site, just before midnight on July 4th, 1969, about 7 or 6 months later, Darlene Farron and Michael Miguel were driving to the Blue Rock Springs Park. Darlene was married and worked as a waitress. They suspected her husband and her ex-husband, but they were both ruled out. She had 1 daughter, Gina. Michael was single and worked as a laborer. They sat in Darlene's car when a car pulled in next to them. It left, then pulled back in 10 minutes later. The killer had a flashlight and a gun. The killer pointed the flashlight at them and shot 5 times at them. The killer walked away but heard Michael moaning. He then came back and shot him twice to make sure he was dead. A man actually called the police department, claiming to be the killer for both murders that happened.
Why would the person claim to be the murderer?
The murderer?
Yeah, the murderer.
Well, he wanted people to know that he was the one who did it. He wanted to get fame for it. He didn't want to just kill them and then not have anyone know, because he thought killing was cool. He thought it was fun. So he wanted people to know that he did it. That way, if you were hunting and then you killed something like a deer or something, then you'd want to show it off to other people. That was basically what it was.
Oh, but animals are not as bad, but it's still kind of bad, but it's not actually really that bad.
Yeah, because we're doing it more for meat to eat, but he's just killing just to kill. So the police traced the call back to a gas station phone booth. It was pretty close to Michael's house, and it was pretty close. It was only a few miles away from the police station. So quote, Miguel described his attacker as a 26 to 30-year-old, 195 to 200 pound, or possibly even more, 5 foot 8 inch, white male with short, light brown curly hair, end quote, according to Wikipedia. Bless you.
Thank you.
Letters first started appearing on August 1st, 1969. The letter writer claimed to have been responsible for the two recent murders. The letter writer threatened to be, quote, killing lone people in the night, then move on to kill again, until I end up with 12 people over the weekend, end quote, if they didn't post his letters on the front page of the newspaper he sent it to. Bless you again, Aiden.
I'm blowing my nose.
Okay, bye. Enjoy blowing your nose.
Just don't remember that part.
Yeah, just forget all about Aiden blowing his nose. So one of the 18 letters states, quote, I like killing people because it's so much fun. It's more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of the day when I die, I will be reborn in paradise and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow me down or atop my colleague of slaves from my afterlife EBRD to meth EPT.
Now that letter is just very badly written.
Yeah, there's a lot of spelling mistakes, so I just pronounced it how it was. So the third murder was on September 27th, 1969 on Lake Berryessa. Two college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, were having a picnic. A man approached them and said he was an escaped convict. He said he wanted their car because his was too hot and made Cecilia tie up Brian. He told Cecilia to tie up Brian, and then after she tied Brian up, then he would tie her up. After discovering that Brian's restraints were loose, he stabbed both of them 6 to 10 times each. He then walked a bit over to Brian's car and wrote Vallejo 12-20-68 7-4-69 September 27-69-630 by knife in a black felt marker. You'll see a picture of it on the screen. The killer then reported the crime at 7:40 from another pay telephone. Cecilia went into a coma and never regained consciousness. She died 2 days later. Brian survived and was able to recount what happened to the police. The last confirmed murder was on August 30th, 1969, 2 weeks after the last murder. Paul Stein was a taxi driver that picked up a white male passenger on the intersection of Mason and Geary Streets in San Francisco. The passenger wanted to go to Washington and Maple Streets and Presidio Heights. Stein drove past Maple to Cherry Street for unknown reasons. The passenger then shot Stein once in the head. He took Stein's wallet and keys. The killer was seen by teenagers at 9:55 p.m. and they called the cops. The passenger wiped down the car real quick and then left. The team worked with the cops to create a composite sketch. 2,500 suspects were worked over the years. The only publicly named suspect was Arthur Leigh Allen, an elementary school teacher and sex offender who died in 1992. We never figured out who the Zodiac Killer was. Police think he is probably a social misfit, somebody who lives alone, has no friends, an over-the-top liar, and narcissistic. The Zodiac Killer is most likely dead now, or in his 80s or 90s. We probably will never know who he is, in my opinion. Bye! Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to get a pony!